Hello YouTube, we are back again. I just wanted to create a video to show you how easy it is to make a stereo that you can use around the house or in the garage with components that you probably have laying around the house. And if you don't have them laying around the house, you can get them for relatively cheap. Let me tell you about the components you need. First, a car stereo. Now, typically, if you don't have one of these, you can pick them up really cheap. You can get them off Craigslist. You can buy them brand new at a big box store for relatively inexpensive, typically under 50 bucks. But off of Craigslist or something, you can probably get them for 20. You can also get them at a junkyard. Any cars that have been junked out, you can get really nice CD players for relatively inexpensive. Now, this is an Alpine CDA 117 that I got off of Craigslist. And I think I picked it up for 20 or 30 bucks. I can't remember, but it was actually a really nice fidelity car stereo. And the great thing about car stereos is the fact that they run off 12 volts and that they have their own equalizers on them typically. So you can equalize them. And you have AM, FM radio, you have a CD player, you typically have an aux port, and some of them even have Bluetooth. So you have everything you possibly need in this unit that you can pick up for as little as 10 or 20 bucks. The problem is most people don't know how to hook this up. So you need this and you need two speakers. Now we're going to use our speakers that we built, and those speakers are the Sprites by Paul Carmody. Now these are not the Sprite boombox, but this is just the regular Sprites. And basically, the speakers just need to be somewhere between 4 to 8 ohms. As long as they fit within the 4 to 8 ohms, you are good to go. And you also need a way to hook up whatever you're going to be listening to. Now, if you're going to be listening just to the CD player and the FM tuner, then you don't need anything else. If you are going to hook up to like a phone, then you might need something like this, which is a RCA to mini cable. You might just need just a mini to mini, which would be this on both sides. Or you may need just Bluetooth connection. That all depends on which head unit you get. But let me show you this head unit. This head unit does not have Bluetooth, which is okay because I didn't need it. Let me first teach you how to hook up the power. You do need a power supply, a 12 volt power supply. In this case, we're going to use a 12 volt and 5 amp power supply. Now, all we did is we cut off the very tip of this. And let me pick up the CD player so you can see this. This one I've actually already soldered together, but if you notice, I cut off the very, very tip of this, which would have just been a small tip end. We cut it off and we cut back the plastic to see that there are two wires in there, one that was black and one that is red. You can see both of those wires. Now, the red wire is the positive, and this is the red wire. I did put a little bit of kind of tape on there so you don't see completely red, but this is the red wire. Now, on the CD player, it typically tells you what all the wires are. And so the two wires that you want to connect are, in this case, the red, which is the switch power ignition lead. That lets you know that the car is on. And also the yellow, and yellow right here says battery lead. Now, most of these are universal. So if it doesn't come with this, typically you're going to look for the red and the yellow wires, and you are going to solder them together to the other red wire. The black one, believe it or not, is going to get soldered to the black wire, right? And once again, on our stereo, it tells us right here, black is the ground lead. Once again, if yours doesn't have this, most of these are color coordinated in the essence, so just solder the yellow and red to the red and the black to the black, and you should be good, although it's always best to check your manual. So if you want to, just like in this case, I could go to Alpine's website, search the model CDA 117, and I could get that. And that's all you need to do for power. So you're pretty much done. Now we need to talk about hooking up speakers. Now your speakers, you can hook up any of them. Now I've already zip tied these knowing that I'm not using any of these cables. I always recommend doing that. If there's cables that you're not going to use, zip tie them out of the way once you know that. Now I decided I was going to use the front two speakers. Now on this particular one, the fronts are white and gray. Now there's going to be 2 gray wires and 2 white wires. And on each one of the wires, there's going to be a black line on one of them. So there's one that's just solid gray and one with gray with a black line. The black line is always the negative, okay? So we are going to hook that up. When we hook it up to the speaker, that will be one speaker pair. And this will be the front speaker. And on this particular unit, the gray is the front right speaker. So front right, white, front left. Once again, it's on the unit, although if it's not on there, gray and white. And if you can't figure it out, like which one's right or left, just put a song or CD or something, a test tone in there that only plays through the right side. Actually, on this unit, you can tune it to just playing on from the right or left, and you can make sure that you have your speakers in the right order. So if for whatever reason this is missing and you hooked up 2 speakers and they're both on the right side, just unhook one and connect it to 2 other pairs. Once again, black line is negative. So connect that to negative, this to the positive. The only other thing that you might be confused about hooking this up, and here in a second we will hook it up to show you the rest of it, is this. This is the antenna. Now typically on a normal antenna, you're going to plug up on a car a really big thick antenna in there. And it fills up the whole port. However, if you take a look down in the antenna, you see a hole down in there. That hole down in there, you can just take a bare wire or even an insulated wire that you've trimmed down and stick it down in there. Just tape it in and that will give you an antenna. It's that simple. Make your antenna as long as you need to get the stations you need or you want. And then when you get the antenna the size you want, just cut it off. And you got yourself a homemade antenna. It's very simple to do. And we'll show you that. Very simple. All right, guys, let me pause the video and I'll hook up the speakers, the front right and front left, to these speakers and show you what that looks like. I will tell you, for the time being, I'll be using electrical tape as this is just going to be a temporary setup. For you, you'll probably want to either solder or use some type of quick connects. Alright guys, well I went ahead and hooked up the speakers, but I wanted to show you the antenna. So this is our antenna. It's not very long, it's about a foot long, and it is just a regular stranded cord. Now you could do a solid core if you want. Some people like solid cores better, but it doesn't matter. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take this and just shove it down in there in the hole. And once it's in there, you're good to go. Now what I like to do is put some tape over the top, some pressure on it. That way it doesn't come out. But now you have an antenna. So you have AM/FM radio. And if you notice, like I said, I just use tape on these right now. But the red wire of the right speaker is going to the plain gray one, and the black of the right speaker is going to the gray with the black line on it. And same with the left speaker except the white. And the only thing I have left to hook up is my auxiliary cable, because I want to use auxiliary. And so I'll hook that up. Now I just have to turn on the radio. Alright, so let's just turn it on. And see, it's going right to CD. We're going to change the source to aux in. Now that everything's hooked up, let's play a song for you. All right, that's good enough. That was Silent Partner, Which Way Is Up. Very good song. Guys, it's that easy. Now, we just showed you how to make this in 10 minutes, and we even played music through it. If you want a simple, cheap, inexpensive sound system for your garage or maybe your bedroom, do this. Doesn't take you long, easy to find a CD player, and honestly, doesn't take very much electronics experience at all to do. Now, if you want some great speakers, take a look at these speakers that we built. These speakers are great. These are Pog Harmony sprites. There's a video. I'll link it in the video. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, if you did, give it a thumbs up.